Hi everyone, welcome back to Read Your Library with Stephanie Thompson. We're on part 3 of our series on podcasts, all about my favorite podcasts, and we're doing 2 a week because I didn't want to make one huge long video with all my podcasts and break it up into little bite-sized pieces for you. So this week we're going to talk about the next 2 podcasts that I really recommend that are my current favorites, and the first of those is called 99% Invisible. And 99% Invisible is created and hosted by Roman Mars is his name, and it's originally started out, I think it's still located there, but it's hosted out of a architecture and design office in Oakland, California. And 99% Invisible is all about the things that we don't notice in our built environment and the thought that goes into them, like architecture and design, basically, that shapes our world, and it is absolutely fascinating. One of the reasons I love 99% Invisible is because Roman Mars has, in my opinion, the best voice in radio. He's a wonderful voice, wonderful storyteller, and they really, on that show, dig into details that I love that I don't know about the world that surrounds me, anything that is designed or built. One of the examples is Roman Mars is obsessed with flag design. Something that, you know, everybody has and everybody takes for granted, but we don't know what goes into it necessarily and how it could be better. He's obsessed with terrible flags, especially. Loves it when people send him examples. Got involved with one city's bid to redesign its flag, because, you know, everybody has a flag. We think of flags of countries, but states, counties, cities, municipalities, organizations, there's flags everywhere. If you just look around, you'll see them. Most of them are terrible. So it's really interesting to hear his episodes about what goes into flag design and how it can be improved. 99% Invisible's motto, if it has one, is read the plaque. Everywhere you go, when you see public buildings or spaces or statues, if they have a plaque on them, read it. That's their motto. Because you will find that the places you pass by and walk through every day without even thinking about them often have an amazing story or history behind them. And ever since, I used to do that a lot anyway, but ever since starting to listen to Roman and his show, I read every plaque I see, and I've come across some amazing ones. Some of the wonderful episodes that I can remember that I've listened to on 99% Invisible, there was one about challenge coins, which are these commemorative coins that the members of the armed forces make. Everything from the president on down, they design them and pay to have them made themselves, and they carry them around, and they can give them to you as a souvenir or as a tribute or a thank you. And you're supposed to carry it in your pocket if you're a member of that organization. And then, you know, originally the story was that you would be at a bar and someone would bring it out and challenge it, and if you didn't have one on you, you'd have to buy drinks. But now I think it has grown bigger than that. It's like a real talisman object, a gift, a sign of respect and inclusion. And I didn't know anything about these coins. And years ago, when I was a teacher, I was teaching a class in beginning English composition to a class of Department of Defense active and retired members and their families on the Marine Corps Recruit Depot base here in San Diego. And one of my students was in the Navy. And at the end of the semester, he was deployed, and before he was deployed, after this class was over, on the last day of class, he brought me a packet which had in it a picture of his ship, a description of their orders, where they were going to be deployed to, a map, all of this, which I guess is, you know, they traditionally put together when they're about to leave for deployment, and it had one of these challenge coins in it. And at the time, I had no idea what that meant or what its significance was. It was, you know, brass coin. I don't have it on me right now, which is really poor planning of me, but a brass coin with a picture of the ship engraved on one side and then some of their info on the other. And I thanked him and I kept it. And years later, after I heard that 99% Invisible episode, I frantically dug through all my old papers and found this packet with this coin in it. And now I carry it everywhere. It's either in my pocket, or if I don't have a pocket, it's in my purse. Because I now know its significance and it's so much more valuable to me, and I really don't want to be anywhere without it. It's become like a good luck charm for me. And who knows, maybe if I'm in a bar someday and someone wraps their challenge coin on the bar, I can pull mine out. And then I won't have to buy any drinks. Thanks, Roman. So that's 99% Invisible. Really recommend it. There's a couple of episodes about the vault, which is the vault of seeds, of all the plants and vegetables and everything in the world that is being kept safe in case of disaster or apocalypse. Fascinating story. Purple Rain, which is a crazy story about this hotel that's painted purple and its whole history in this, I can't remember which city it's in, but they interviewed the architect's daughter and they talked all about how the hotel came to be and its crazy history. There's recently a fascinating episode called Post-Narco-Urbanism, all about how civic design in Medellin, Colombia, helped rebirth the city after the fall of the drug cartels, after Escobar was killed and the drug cartel's power was broken. How the city planners decided they couldn't let this happen again, this rise of crime, and they really looked at how the city was designed and what they could do through physical changes in the city to prevent this happening again, including improving infrastructure, putting in a different kind of public transport. It's amazing, it's fascinating, and it's worked. Medellin is apparently beautiful and full of tourists now, and very low crime, so definitely something to listen to and something to think about. Speaking of crime, great segue, a relatively new podcast that only has 1 season on the books is Crimetown from Gimlet Media. Crimetown. And Crimetown is created by and hosted by Mark Smerling and Zach Stewart-Pontier. And what it does is, season by season, city by city, it looks at how organized crime has shaped particular American cities, which is a fascinating idea. But even more fascinatingly, for their first season, they chose, of all places, Providence, Rhode Island, which, in my ignorance, I had no idea was an organized crime hotbed, I guess especially in the 70s. But they did a season-long deep dive into the history of organized crime in Providence, and it was fascinating. And one of the things I really like about this show also is their music is great. They choose some fantastic music and songs to work into the show as part of their sound production, and it's wonderful. It's thrilling, it's exciting. They do a lot of really good research. They interview a bunch of people, and the editing is fantastic, so I really recommend Crimetown if you're into that sort of thing. And I am dying to know what the next city is that they're going to dig into for their next season. As I say, there's only 1 season on the books so far. So that's it for this video. 99% Invisible and Crimetown, sorry, blanked there for a second. Really recommend them, love them, I think you will too. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time on Read Your Library. Listen to your podcast with Stephanie Thompson.